Welcome everyone to Pinellas County's in-service of EPCR. I'm Captain Dave Young with Oldsmar Fire Rescue. In a little bit we're going to be joined by Ed Wilson with Sunstar Paramedics. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to have an understanding of the changes to the new user interface, including the new look, a new improvement to entering patient medications, and a new field search. We're going to know that users will receive an email when a PCR is sent back to them for correction. We're going to have an understanding of a powerful new quick fill feature. And we're going to know how to properly enter student riders into the tablet PCR. Welcome, Ed.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Yes. So one of the first things we're going to go over today is the user interface update. So Ed, can you show us a little bit about that?
Be happy to. Good news, all of the main functionality is exactly the same. Buttons are in the same place. The principal difference is slightly different color scheme, no icons on the buttons. When you click on the desktop to start tablet PCR, the icon there is going to look a little bit different. Functionality wise, you now have the ability to sort based on the column headers inside either the inbox or tablet PCR. One note about that is that we're EMS, we want to be able to get to our dispatch calls. We don't want to mess ourselves up with this column sort. Dispatched calls will always be at the top, complete will always be at the bottom, no matter how you sort. Inside tablet PCR, I've just hit new. You're going to like this one. We're entering patient medications, and let's say that the patient takes Lasix, all right, and I tap the screen on that, we've got Lasix. Notice that it deleted everything that was in the search box, focus is down there, now that the patient takes lisinopril. And instead of hitting the screen, I'm going to hit the enter key. But there's something about hitting the enter key that you'll want to know. It chooses the top item if and only if the beginning of the word matches what is in the search box. And so lisinopril, I hit the enter key and it works just fine. All right. Patient says, oh, I take something that is mixed with HCTZ. I forget what it is. Oh, Accuretic, that's it. Pop quiz for you right now. If I hit the enter key, is Accuretic going to be chosen and put over on the left? Answer is no, because what's entered into the search field does not automatically match up with HCTZ. I hit enter, it doesn't work. I tap the screen, it does work.
All right.
Final item on the interface is in patient-patient, there happens to be one new field for patient email. We can see in the future communicating with patients after the fact via email.
Okay.
So then on the topic of email, Dave, will you talk about crews getting emails when they get QA PCRs back?
Yes. So if you are to receive a PCR back for correction, you will also receive an email notification telling you that you've gotten a call back and tell you the workflow comments. There are some changes with workflow comments and how to see them better in the EPCR. Ed, can you explain that to us, please?
You bet. Anytime you get a PCR back and it says complete on it, and it's in your pending, just bring it up to the top and scroll all the way to the right. There should be workflow comments right here. Then you just want to make this wide enough to read those comments. Old school would be you click it and drag it left. Let me pick a column that does have stuff in it. Just get your cursor right here, double click, and it'll go wide enough to read the longest item.
All right, very good. So the next thing we want to go over is a new field search option.
So let's suppose that I want to get back to some field and I'm like, oh, I filled that out wrong. Where is delay at scene? I can't remember. I can just come to this icon up here in the upper right, and as soon as I type delay, it'll show me everything that has delay in it. I click delay at scene, takes me right there. That's the main idea.
Good. Is there anything that this will not search?
Yes. So for example, we've made our interventions match the MOM. It's not going to search any of our assessment, vital signs, or interventions.
Okay, very good. So now we're going to go over the quick fill templates. Quick fill templates are designed to populate commonly used fields based on the call type. The goal is nothing more than make it faster to complete a PCR. we're talking about clicks. We're trying to limit the clicks that you guys have to do to complete a PCR. So the example we're going to use today is a signal 7. So if you go to review narrative, we're going to assume that you're first ALS on scene, and then you come down to quick fill. You'll see that you have a signal 7 option. Now this window comes up. What is that window, Ed?
It says three things. It says that the content that's about to be written into your PCR was not set up by Zoll. It was set up locally. Our EPCR committee did that. It won't overwrite anything that you've already plugged in there, and it won't undo. So you can't Control Z this. It will plug in some temporary notes in the narrative that says exactly what was filled in, which gives you the ability to both check it and go back and make any changes.
There you go. So example right here, you have everything that has been auto-populated for your signal 7. First ALS on scene, number of patients, patient acuity, all those have been auto-populated. It also auto-populates one set of vital signs for you. But remember, you have to go back and you're going to have to adjust the times on these vital signs and or interventions. They do not auto-populate the time, so you're going to have to fill those in for yourself. And one example of changing something is for barriers of care. If there was some kind of barrier to care, this one automatically picked none noted. You may have to go in and change that to whatever barrier of care it was. In the bottom, you're going to see a SOAP format. You can choose to use this or not. It's totally up to you. But if you're ready to get rid of all this, highlight it, backspace, and it is all gone. So, but let's say now you want to go back and use that SOAP format. So click SOAP format, click yes, and it comes right back. So you can layer these quick fills on top of each other. And just make sure that you go back and delete any of the guide that the quick fill brought in.
So if I want to know exactly what gets filled in aside from what we see in the narrative, how can I do that?
So if you go to help, this will pop up, and once this goes live, there'll be a PDF version of the quick fills for your reference.
I like it. What's this line right above it while we're in the help menu?
So this is education on version 6, and we have all the PDFs and videos from 2019, but this video, all the PDFs from today will also be in there. You'll also be able to get through these through Target Solutions.
I like it. Dave, what happens if they leave some of the less than or greater than symbols?
If these are left behind, that's why we want you guys to double check your narrative. If these are left behind, they will flag in first pass. And we'll send it back to you for correction.
I like it. We want your ideas on how this can be made better. Please get your ideas to the EPCR committee through, if you're FD, your EMS coordinator, or an appropriate designee at Sunstar, get it through me.
All right.
A quick note about responsibility. Whether you choose to use quick fill or not, whether you manually fill things in, whether you have a partner that is helping you out and documenting inside the PCR, it is ultimately your responsibility for accurate documentation.
Yes. And just remember, there are several quick fills that are based on no patient contact. Please ensure that if you had any contact with a patient, use the appropriate quick fill.
You bet. While we're on that kind of topic, Dr. J, as well as Dave and myself, would like to invite you. We just did a quick fill involving a signal 7. If you're not crisp and clear on CS14, now would be a great time to look over the protocol.
Yep.
Student riders next.
Student riders. So now we have options to enter student riders. So we're going to enter on crew number 4 and above, because starting at crew number 4, we have the option of can't find. So this is where we'll be able to manually enter our student's name, have our student sign next, and we'll have the option of choosing where the student is from. What school, if he's an EMT or paramedic. Very good. So now when we go back to our vital signs, remember we have to go back and enter the time for this incident. We can also choose our student, high school we're going to like him.
Good job.
So we can choose him or her and give them credit for these interventions and it better in documentation.
Anything else before we do final thoughts?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Filling out the EPCR now maybe just a little bit easier. If you're completing the PCR, your responsibility to get it right. Our main goal here, first-rate quality patient care. First-rate quality documentation is a definite part of that.
Yes, I agree. And we want to make sure that you guys double-check your narratives, making sure there's no less than or greater than symbols left in your narratives. Remember, those will get flagged by first pass and we'll have to send them back to you for correction. Just remember, you also have resources for education. Quick full reference guide in the help menu and education in the help menu for version 6. Ed, is there anything they need to know about the EPCR committee?
Well, we want ideas. EPCR committee is a group of people from all agencies, strong showing from field level. Goal, make sure that the EPCR matches the mom and make the EPCR as easy to fill out as possible. If you have ideas, like I said before, send them up through the appropriate chain of command, or if you're Sunstar, get them to me. Check your EMS Connection newsletter or at Post newsletter if you're Sunstar for an article in the July issue. Yes?
I think it's a wrap. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy.